Clan Seafox aims to be the leading broker of interstellar communications across the Inner Sphere, but the Hyperpulse Generator Network blackout has been a thorn in their side for far too long. To fix the network, the Seafoxes enlist the skills of an elite watch operative codenamed Kitefin. Her first priority is to capture the one man with the knowledge to end the crisis and restore communication across the stars, Tucker Harwell, a genius who vanished amid the chaos of Terra's conquest. Before Agent Kitefin can take Tucker to Voidbreaker Station and begin the work of repairing the vast HPG comms network, she'll have to find him. Unfortunately, she's not the only one looking. Voidbreaker is a high-stakes spy thriller blended with the explosive military action of battletech from the award-winning author of Fox Tales, and without question, Brian Young. Get it January 24th, wherever battletech books are sold. You don't want to miss it.
There are three constants: cold, work, and the moan. The first is an ever-present danger. The second is our best weapon to fight it. And the third is proof our weapon is working, that the tools we have built to preserve us from the ice and snow are keeping them at bay. The world we knew ended 10 years ago. The great frost descended and the cold never relented. There are no more seasons. No more warmth. Things we took for granted in our old life, food, trees, comfort, are difficult to come by. It is a hard life, but it is the only one we have. We go forward, day after day, driven by the same words that spurred us on since we migrated north. The city must survive. Frostpunk, the award-winning video game from 11-Bit Studios, is becoming a tabletop role-playing game from Catalyst Game Labs, longtime publisher of Shadowrun and Battletech. This society-building game pushes players to consider what they will do to preserve the fragile communities that they have built. Take on a variety of roles from medic to engineer to hunter to explorer and more. See what you can do to build a society, confront crises, and overcome the dangers of the continual cold. The choices you will face will not be easy, but they cannot be avoided. What will you prioritize? What will you value? If you keep hope in your people and reduce discontent, you can build something that lasts. But if things go poorly, people will let you know. You could find society crumbling around you and perhaps be exiled into the cold with no hope of return to warmth. Using the new Dice Core role-playing system, the Frostpunk role-playing game offers an easy-to-learn, fast-moving system that puts your character's decision at the center of any session, and allows you to try and build and maintain a city that somehow manages to hold people together. Back now for your chance to play an entirely new kind of RPG.
everyone, welcome to another Tuesday Newsday. I'm Rem, I'm the Community and Marketing Director for Catalyst, and I'm here with my special guest for the day, Josh Perian. Hi, Josh.
Hello, hi everybody. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. Josh and I were just talking the past 15, 20 minutes during tech. Josh does so much for Catalyst behind the scenes. Josh's name comes up everywhere. And so it's nice to finally meet Josh in distance person.
Face to face.
Yeah, but I'm real excited to go over Josh's work on IlKhan's Eyes Only. I always want to say IlKhan's Eyes Only.
Yeah, me too.
IlKhan's Eyes Only. And some of the other work that Josh has going on. So we'll get to all that as soon as I'm through the news here. And we've got, so for battletech, IlKhan's Eyes Only drops tomorrow. That's the big news. So you'll be able to find that on the Catalyst store by Friday. Usually we drop battletech releases on Fridays, and then retail distribution is up for IKEA tomorrow. We have a backer update that's going out for Mercenaries. Today after the show, I've got like 3 more paragraphs to edit. So I'm gonna be meeting with the team to get some edits done, and we'll get that out to all of you folks, including some news about the holdups at the EU for customs. So we got a little more detail. I was filled in this week about it. So a little bit of explanation in there. Shadowrun Lethal Harvest is going to drop January 22nd. So that is the new Shadowrun book. I'm pretty excited about that. There's a lot of plot stuff that's happening in there. So that's going to be pretty exciting. I think they're also dropping one of the Shadowrun legendary missions this month. So I don't remember what that one's called from the meeting, but as soon as I have a link, I'll get it up on socials for you guys. RPGs, Voltron. I put the link in chat for Voltron, sorry, not Voltron, for Frostpunk here. I'm going to drop it again because I forgot that last week they told me that all the links don't show up with what they are. So let me drop that in chat for you. Control C. Control V. RJ's going to, hey RJ. RJ's going to be on to talk about Lethal Harvest next week. So cool. So that's the Frostpunk Kickstarter. So exciting stuff about that. We are partnering with 11-bit Studios for the TTRPG for Frostpunk. It's launching in March. We should be announcing the official date pretty soon, unless they decide to push it. But there's a big announcement coming from 11-bit too that I'll be talking about as soon as I'm allowed to. I have a meeting with them Thursday, so I'm hoping I get some stuff there. I just happened to glance over, since I'm dropping links in there, Bad Ben's Battle Mechs. I don't tell the news on the channel anymore because I have the Kickstarter be the official source, because then, I mean, people bitch at me either way. But, you know, if I post here, they're like, not everyone sees this. So yeah. I just let that be the official word. My hope is usually to try to get the backer updates posted by before Tuesday Newsday so that I can talk about stuff after, but sometimes getting all the info, language, approvals, and write-ups just doesn't happen in time. So Voltron, we have a new backer update that's out. So good progress is being made on the RPG side. There's some quintessence edits going through right now and some tweaks to the rules. But the book is pretty close to done. And then for the board game, that's been a little slow to release some extra stuff. It wasn't as forward in the process as the RPG was, but basically there's some minor rules tweaks that are going on, and all art is due by the end of February. And then once all that art is in, it all gets handed over to NBC Universal for approvals, since working with licensees is fun, or licensors is fun. So watch the backer updates for more info on Voltron, and that will be coming out to Pledge Manager pretty soon, which will open the pre-order store. So if you missed the Kickstarter, you'll be able to back there for a little while. Whew. All right, fiction. As you saw in the commercial, we have Voidbreaker coming up. So let me get you the link for that, the pre-order link. Boop.
Very excited for that one.
Yeah, talk about that while I copy and paste some links.
Oh, wow. Okay, so Voidbreaker obviously is the newest novel from Brian Young, who is a fantastic writer and a very good human being, who I've worked with closely on a number of projects, including Voidbreaker. It's going to obviously tell the story of, I don't know, how much of it has he already talked about or told people already?
I don't know that we've released back cover copy yet. I know the cover has been released and people are super excited about the cover.
Yes, I just dropped something that I wanted to read. So in the cover, he has talked about the cover. So you know who's on the cover?
Yes.
Okay, so you know it's Starcoral Rodriguez of Clan Sea Fox, who is on a super duper secret mission to capture a particular individual. Did they already tell who the individual is?
I don't think so.
Oh, then I can't say anything.
Oh,
I can't say more.
Someone.
But all I know,
captures someone.
It captures someone of unique importance. That's not a dead giveaway. Then I don't know what is. But it's a really, really fantastic novel. It has all these like really cool special ops, secret agent type scenes that we don't normally see in BattleTech, but are written very much for BattleTech. So, you know, these are guys that like the Rabid Fox, who don't get a lot of screen time in BattleTech necessarily. This is the Clan Sea Fox version of them from the Clan Watch, and there's some really great mission stuff going on. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of great action, and it really helps kick off the early portion of the IlKhan era, and some of the things that are coming down the pike. So it's a fantastic novel. I know Brian will say so much more about it. I don't want to ruin anything, but it was a blast, like helping him get it written.
So the commercial that we played at the beginning of the episode that Brian made for Voidbreaker, they did name the target.
Oh, okay. So they say Tucker, Mr. Tucker?
Yep, Tucker Harwell. Thanks,
okay,
chat.
so
you guys
Harwell.
are on it.
I'm glad that someone actually listened to the promo. I clearly missed that.
We can't hear it from this end, so
yeah, so but yeah, it's a really, it actually explains, you know, where Tucker was and what happens to him and why he wasn't, how he disappeared after some of the events in Hour of the Wolf. And and it's really great. Introduces some awesome characters and brings back some old ones that we haven't seen for quite some time. Some Dark Age favorites.
Awesome.
And yeah, it's a really great novel. Yeah, cool. I think everyone will really enjoy it.
I also dropped in the chat, Shadowrun Base Crackers is new out on release for the Shadowrun fiction line. And then also Trial of Birthright by Michael Sierravella is out now. And I know we haven't gotten to do any promotion yet, but I talked to Big Red about it, and he has a book review coming. And he's going to do an interview with Michael, so that's going to be fun. I stole your thunder, haha, if you're here. Usually
now, the cool thing too I would add, the cool thing I would add about Trial of Bloodright is that part of the events that take place in that novel are in line with what's in IKEO. So I highly suggest going out and getting Trial of Bloodright if you plan on getting IlKhan eyes only, because it will help tie in a lot of the source book information with the fiction and vice versa. And it'll provide like a lot of context to the earliest parts of the source book.
Cool. Awesome. All right. In other news, we've got Board Game Division. Runefire is coming to Kickstarter later this year. So this is, if you guys remember Shadowrun Crossfire, which turned into Dragonfire in partnership with WotC, we are now doing Pathfinder's Runefire, which is in partnership with Paizo. So I'm going to drop that in the chat for you guys to follow as well. Runefire, boop. As Big Red appears in chat. cool. So we've got Runefire, and then the other thing that's coming from Board Game Division is dropping in either March or April, depending on when the shipment shows up. Flippin' Ninja. I haven't gotten to play this one yet, but it's a pretty fun-looking game. The art's really cute, and we're going to be demoing it at Gamma, so that's where I'll get to see it for the first time. But Flippin' Ninja is coming. Our last board game that was released by the Board Game Division was Parachute Panda, and it sold out within the first 6 months, which is awesome. So reorders, so reorders are coming in, and reprints and everything else. I see you in there, so I'll just talk to you directly. So if you go to the Catalyst YouTube channel, you'll be able to see the video, and then the chat is in there if you want.
Oh, okay. That's why I missed it. I was looking in the wrong spot.
Yep. So Flippin' Ninja and Runefire for Board Game Division. There's other things that are being worked on, but nothing really far enough along that is going to be too exciting to talk about just yet. And Leviathans. So not much of a new update since we talked last, except that we are continuing to pressure our manufacturer to ship before Chinese New Year, which is rapidly approaching. So it's one of those, like, we keep having conversations and like they think they can get it done and stuff like that, but we don't know until we get there and it's like in the container and shipping and stuff like that. So our goal is to ship from the manufacturers by Chinese New Year, which means that I think we would be on track either March or April to start fulfillment by the time everything gets where it's going and gets sorted. So dependent on Chinese New Year right now is the update. So within the next week or two, I should have like, yes or no, we did it or we didn't do it. And what does that do to the timeline? But we're getting so close. It's all printed. And that's exciting. And then finally, The Lock is coming to Kickstarter as well. So this is in partnership with Tommy Rice, who's a former NFL player and current actor. And he's been doing a whole bunch of stuff with Netflix and Amazon Prime and a couple of other games and projects that he can't talk about yet, but I'm excited for when we can. But The Lock is based off a book he's written, and it's coming to Kickstarters. It's going to be a minis game. And I'm pretty excited about this one. The art is gorgeous. The story seems to really stand up, and I haven't gotten to see the game yet, but I know that he pitched it to Randall and got like no feedback on Randall was like, yeah, it's a good game. Let's do this. So I'm pretty excited for what this is gonna look like. So this is
It's always nice. It's always good when someone's like 10 out of 10, no notes.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah. So this is The Lock, and it's sci-fi fantasy. So if you like mixing sci-fi with your fantasy, Shadowrun, then do the thing, follow the project. Awesome. I think that's all my news. So, chat, if you have questions, put them in chat for our moderators to put in my document for me, and we'll answer them at the end. But we've got the next 20 to 25 minutes here with Josh. Hi, Josh.
Hello.
So, battletech and stuff. How did you first fall in love with battletech?
Oh my God. I have a long and winding trail and path to battletech.
Do it.
That, I don't know, some people think it's an urban legend. I got into battletech very young, like a lot of us did. I fell in love with the entire series of novels. That was my first introduction, actually, was through the fiction, and then quickly spiraled into the game itself. I was absolutely infatuated with it, to the point where just to get the line in my high school yearbook, I created a battletech club, and I could get it there in my high school yearbook as one of the clubs I was in.
Aww.
And for my 16th birthday, I actually traveled to Chicago to go to the FASA offices. I showed up on a Saturday in a shirt and tie with like donuts, my mom, and like all this coffee. And within 2 seconds, the shirt was off. It was actually the one weekend that Randall was not there. He was actually in the process of moving. He had just joined FASA and was in the process of moving to his house. But Brian Niestel was there, Mike Mulvihill, Sharon, Jill Lucas. I met Mort Wiseman, he was there that day. And so this was 16-year-old me who was just like, this was my Graceland. And I was like, this was it. I was in it for life. And fast forward to 2012, I was given an opportunity to start writing for BattleTech, and I've gone deeper and deeper ever since.
That's awesome. Cool. Uh,
Yeah.
that's great. So was writing for BattleTech your first credential for writing, or have you done other
No,
work?
no, I had previous to working for Catalyst, I had worked briefly. I'd done some contract work for Games Workshop Corporate. I helped a little bit with their Ard Boys campaign and some things with their Hunter Gatherer program. I was more on the corporate side of things, but I did do some writing for them. And then moving to Catalyst was my first strictly me products.
Cool.
I started doing the micro PDFs at first, and then moved into other things from there.
Awesome. So what have you contributed to or written for up to this point before IKEO?
Oh my God, let me pull up my Sarna.net page. It's a
When
list.
you have to check
Um,
Sarna for look
I've
yourself up on Sarna.
I still can't even remember. I've done a lot of the spotlight ons. I actually run the micro PDF line. So Spotlight on, Touring the Stars. I've written a number of source books or parts of source books, nothing entirely. I have not nearly the word count of guys like Craig Reed or Chris Hartford. But I've contributed meaningfully, I think, in my own little way to a lot of the game stuff on the game side. Um, but yeah, I've done a small parts on like a large number of source books. I've written, I'm happy to say I've written almost the entire death of the Republic faction of the Sphere in source book. I'm responsible for Field Manual 3145, the Republic side of things, and all of that. I'm happy to report I helped kill off the Comstar revival. And if I get the chance to kill off more factions, I will do it. I know that's an unpopular stance, but I think we have too many, so let's clear the field. Um, so those are some of the things that I have no problems doing. If you want me to not be emotionally connected to something and you want it killed, give it to me. I'll do it.
Isn't that Randall's line too, that he kills his favorite
Yeah, you
factions?
should. Absolutely. Don't become too attached to anything about tech. You'll be poorer for it. No,
Oh,
be in
that's
it for
so
all
funny.
of it.
Awesome.
That's it.
Awesome. All right, so IKEO, you are project lead, right?
Yep.
What does that
So
mean?
what that means is I'm giving a fairly loose directorate with a handful of guardrails and kind of like a beginning and an end, and then I have to do everything else. So I kind of fill in the blanks. A project manager for a source book of this size or a line of source books is typically responsible for putting together the writing team, often the general content of what the source book is going to include. Again, the high points that you're supposed to hit, the guardrails you're not supposed to cross over. We're often responsible for doing things like creating all of the art prompts and working with the art team to make sure that works, that the art that they generate works with the prompts in the book that you've created. We're often responsible for making sure that all the rules section and the rules annex is done. Just pretty much everything. It's project managers do it all, including up to writing. In this particular case for IlKhan's Eyes Only, I had the wonderful benefit of working with Paul to help kind of rough out an initial campaign of what this book was going to do in terms of the fighting that goes on in it. And then after that, it was putting together a crack team, coming up with ideas for fiction stories, assigning those stories to writers to write, like Brian. So in IlKhan Eyes Only, there are two fantastic short stories in here, one by Brian Young and one by Michael Sierravella. And they are integral to setting up the feel of IlKhan's Eyes Only and kind of what you can expect now moving into the early years of the IlKhan era. But it's basically what we do. Like
Cool.
we put these things together.
I'd like you to talk a little bit about the project and what you
Sure.
can find in the book. I'm also going to share a piece of art. I'm getting the cover sent to me so that I can pull the cover up too. But this I shared a
Oh,
couple weeks ago. This art piece is Maybe it is the cover, but it's the
Let me see. Let me see. I'll tell you. I have all the art on my screen. If you want me to share it, I
the
can share
the
the
clan.
art.
Well, it'll mess the windows up, but
Oh,
the
then let's not do
clan
that.
wolf flag on fire.
Ah, yes, that is the cover. So what
Okay,
you're
okay,
looking
that's the
at,
cover.
that is the cover. This is a wonderful piece. It basically shows the two main characters of IlKhan Eyes Only, which is obviously the IlKhan Wolf, and the antagonist, the Capellan Confederation, who we all know and love. Again, don't become too attached to these things, people. You'll be poor for it. Um, but yeah, and it's showing off this great fight between a werewolf and an emperor battle mech, and it has the old Cameron star, the old symbol of the Star League up there, because as we know from Hour of the Wolf, Alric has, he's recreating or wants to recreate a new Star League. And so this book really tells the tale of that first pivotal year of under Alaric's new reign after the IlKlan trials.
Awesome. I just
Yeah.
got the cover. I like the text on the cover, that it feels like that confidential text
Yeah,
stamp.
yeah, and it's the book is written by Spurlock Connors. So that is the head of the IlKlan Watch. So this is essentially a watch report
Ooh,
for Alaric. So it has a number of individuals who are looking at this particular report prior to it going into Alaric's hands. So there's commentary. The most important characters right now in the Star League and the IlKlan, looking at Connor's work before it goes to Alaric. And in fact, there's this fantastic image. I'm going to just show it up real fast. I think some
sure.
people have seen it. Marco Mazzoni was the art lead for this book, and him and his artist absolutely like knocked it out of the park for all this stuff. But there's this really, really great picture in here of poor Alaric actually getting the report handed to him. And the guy looks like he's gonna cry because somebody stole his cookies. And that's because, in a lot of ways, he feels like someone has.
Here, I'm gonna have you
And
hold that up again in just a moment. I'm gonna make the
sure.
camera real big so
Oh no, don't zoom in.
people
You'll see all
can.
my you'll see my face real close. You don't want that.
Well,
There we
we,
go.
we want the art. Give me one sec.
There we go.
It's not up quite yet.
Okay, so tell me when I gotta go left, right, forward. I
Give me
can't see you.
one sec. Let me
Take your time.
hide all of that and move this over. You'll see of it, but hey, it's the best I can do. Okay, move it. Pull back a little bit. Okay. So we see the Lyran tonight right in the center, basically.
Yeah, so what this is an image of, oh, you're not still zoomed up on me. Because I can
Sorry.
just tell you. No, it's okay. It is, I don't know how familiar some of our listeners are to the Liberation of Terra series, which was a couple of historical source books about the Starleague Civil War. And in books, I think it's the first one. There is an image of the usurper sitting on the Starleague throne, shooting poor Cameron after shot him in the face. And what I thought was so great about that imagery was this was a very smug usurper sitting in a throne that he was confident and sure it was his. And what I wanted for this book was the reverse image of that. I wanted an Alaric sitting on his Starleague throne, absolutely super concerned with his state of affairs, being bombarded left and right with all of the things that are happening around him, and being alone, not sure quite what to do, because quite frankly, he is kind of alone. So that's some of like the really fantastic art you're going to see in this book.
Awesome. Cool. All right, so
Yeah.
you've got the case file here. What is there? You said there's some great fiction in there and stuff like that. Is there one section in particular that you're super proud of?
Yes, actually. I got to give big props to Eric Saltzman for this one. Eric did an incredible job with taking this idea of how is Ulrich going to govern Terra, which he's now solely responsible for, more or less isolated from any help. And more to the point, what can Alaric do in the face of being isolated, trying to achieve all of his objectives while kind of the world is his worldview is crumbling around him. And Eric took this idea and ran with it so fully and made it so incredibly believable. I'm super proud of the work he did. And also explaining some of the disconnect with, well, why isn't Alaric getting help from the Wolf Empire? And this book really answers a ton of these burning questions in such a great way that I don't know, I absolutely love it. I think it's just an awesome source book. But the part I like the most is how Eric explains Terra and how Alaric is dealing with Terra. And I think that provides a real cornerstone for the storyline moving forward.
Awesome. I
There's a lot of reading between the lines in this book. If you read the source book and you don't come away going, oh man, I see 50 ways this is all gonna go bad, then you haven't been reading hard enough. Go back and do it again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I am sharing that piece of art that you held up. One of the mods
cool.
sent it to me. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, every piece of art in this book is phenomenal. I think my absolute favorite piece is the inside cover of the book is actually.
Oop, sharing now. Ooh, neat. Ooh, I like that planet view. Awesome.
Yeah, that is my absolute favorite piece in the book. It's obviously a planet that the snow ravens are shellacking into glass. And they get a lot of screen time in this. And we also get some great warship goodiness in this book. So it's got 21 flavors. It's got something for everybody in it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So in addition to IlKhan's Eyes Only and writing and doing this lead product dev and stuff like that, you are also working on something that's super exciting to the community. We all call it something different. You call it the Mule. I call it the MUL.
I call it the Mule. Yep. Everyone has a different word for it. I call it the Mule.
So this has been a labor of love for a while. Can you give us any insight on where that stands now?
Yeah. So I know some people are familiar with the I hope everyone's familiar with the master unit list. If you're not, then the master unit list is this amazing go-to tool for building battletech games. And I've had the privilege of being part of leading and being part of the team that's transitioning this tool from a volunteer effort run by like some incredible human beings to a Catalyst tool that will also be run by some incredible human beings. There have been some slight delays. I was working with Jeff, who's the lead programmer, as long as he passed away. But I've restarted work on it. I've been actively developing it for the last, I want to say 8 weeks now. And we're pretty close to being able to release an initial candidate of this. I'm not quite prepared to give an exact date yet.
Sure.
But it will be in Q1 of 2025.
Hey, we're in Q1 of 2025, so that could be anywhere from tomorrow to
That's right, until March 31st. That's the window right now, people. But I'm hoping sooner rather than later. We do have to finish up a handful of functions, and we have to do a pretty thorough QA, QC on it so that we know the application isn't broken in any shape, way, or form. So we're gonna beat the heck out of it. But I'm really happy with it. We rebuilt it from the ground up. It has some really great features in it. I know people have mentioned before record sheets. Yes, there are record sheets on it. The Alpha Strike card generator now prints the PDF. We can do combination forces with Alpha Strike cards and record sheets. We can do a lot of fun stuff. The thing I'm most particularly proud of right now is a completely rebuilt search filter. We've built the search filter, rebuilt it from the ground up. It's got some really great conditionals. It's much more user friendly. It's completely mobile responsive. We've added some accessibility features to it too to bring it more online and open it up to more people. It's been reskinned, so it'll look modern and new. And it's got some other fun stuff in there that I just don't really want to tell you yet.
Okay, and that's yeah, we that was one of our things we talked about in
Yeah.
the pre-show is that there's some cool stuff coming, but as we get closer, we're gonna have Josh back on to talk about it. So right now, it's just the teaser sampling of what's to
Yeah.
come.
Yeah, I can as we get a little bit closer, I can actually tell people more and more about what's on it, what they can expect in the future with the mule because this is only it's what I consider it's phase one. We have a plan for its future and how what fun things we're going to add to it over time.
Cool.
And I probably will also be able to give a complete walkthrough prior to its release, either like live or I'll do a recording and you can show it on your show.
Yeah, let's plan for that. I'm okay with either. But
Mhm.
I can absolutely set up an overlay so you can just screen share and walk us through whatever you'd
Cool.
like. So that'd be
Yeah,
fun.
it's very user friendly. I know the way I built this thing, the admins are gonna love it too.
Cool.
So it'll make their life a lot easier as well. I know the players don't really care about that, but the guys that operate the mule, they really do appreciate it when it's easy to operate and able to make changes and add stuff to it. So and it will also have, I do feel like I should share this. It will have all of the Alpha Strike cards for units that are not currently present. So advanced aerospace cards will be up there. And if I have my druthers, maybe even a few others.
Ooh, that's
Yeah, I'm
so
working on that
exciting.
now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for all your hard work on that. I know that's got to be a labor of love to go into that kind of dev and detail. So, really appreciate that and excited to have you back on to talk about the release.
Yep. I'm here.
So,
Whenever you want.
Josh, in the last few minutes here before we switch over to Q&A, anything else that you're working on that you're allowed to talk about or coming down the pipe?
Um, Probably not. There are a few things I'm working on. I know I'm definitely not allowed to talk about. As far as what I'm allowed to talk about, no, I don't think I've been
Okay.
authorized to say anything yet. I'm sorry, I really can't.
It's okay.
I wish I could. I will say if I can say a few more things about IlKhan
Please,
size only.
please.
I know there was a lot of concern with the community that Alric, all he does is win all day, win, 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 all he does. Read the book with your eyes open heart. Think about it. This it might feel like Alaric's winning, but really he's not. Alaric loses by winning. And so this is going to set up some really fantastic drama in the Battletech
Ooh.
universe. It's going to create a lot of fantastic conflict in the coming years. And it'll really help if you buy uh, Trial of Blood Right,
Birthright,
Void Breaker,
right?
Birthright. I said yeah, Birthright. Sorry, Blood Right. It's Birthright. There's a reason why I'm getting tongue tied. Trial of Birthright. Read it. Void Breaker. Read it. And Tom Levine's upcoming novel, Blood Will Rain, is the other novel that you should absolutely get when it comes out. All three of those tie into IlKhan's Eyes Only as the events are unfolding in this source book, both peripherally and like right in it. And will provide some really great context and some awesome characters that we want to keep our eyes on in the coming months and years as the timeline marches on into the IlKhan era.
I'm pretty excited with what you said with like the wins by or loses by winning.
Lose by winning.
Like I feel like we're the how BattleTech was initially sold to me because I wasn't so much into like Transformers and Voltron and stuff like the big stompy robot wasn't my thing. But he's like, but I know Rhett at Gen Con said at one point, yeah, but it's big stompy robots meets Game of Thrones. So I'm really
Yeah,
into the political intrigue and
yeah.
the drama that comes from that. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of hand wavium that we have to have with a lot of things in BattleTech, but one of the things that we don't have to hand wave away is the fact that Terra is a planet unlike any other in the inner sphere. It doesn't follow the same rules as any other planet in the inner sphere, and getting a hold of it is only the first step in like keeping it, and then going out from there. And if you're a guy like Alric, who has suffered tremendous losses in taking this planet and in the IlKhan trials, and doesn't necessarily have any readily available allies or resupply, and you have the sharks circling, what do you do? Especially when you have this grand idea of what happens after you catch the car. You know, he's the dog chasing the car and he's caught the car. Like in his head, he has an idea of like what's supposed to come next. And that idea, that concept does not meet reality. And this kind of tells the story of what happens next.
That's awesome.
And it does a really good job of it, in my opinion. I think it's been a fantastic source book.
Anything else you want to share about IKEA?
Yeah, if there are Confederation fans out there, don't be too sad. You guys have won a lot. All right, you'll have another time in the sun again. It might feel like you're getting your teeth kicked in a little bit, but you're not. It's not as bad as it looks or sounds. But and it's not over yet. This source book doesn't end in any sort of finale. It's actually really a beginning. And so for every fan of every faction out there, all this does is just kind of cap the very end of the Dark Age era and a little bit of that, first IlKhan, and it sets it up for everything that's coming. So if your faction isn't mentioned, or you feel like they just got their teeth kicked in, don't worry, it's not the end. The other cool thing I'd add about this book that the other source books, early IlKlan source books, do not have is a complete timeline. A complete timeline of everything that took place throughout the later half of the Dark Age through Hour of the Wolf and beyond. We do this thing called Around the Sphere, where we literally go around the inner sphere with an update for each of these places as written through the eyes of an intelligence report. So some of the stuff in there is obviously very true. Some of it we don't know. But it's a really cool way to get a complete view of what's going on across the inner sphere, as well as generate some really cool game ideas for your table. Awesome. So that is something I'm particularly proud of and enjoy in this book. Again, Eric Saltzman, he killed it and putting all those together and making sure they're absolutely rad.
Awesome. Cool. Neat. Well, thank you so much, Josh. Let's cut over to questions. So if you have a question, please at one of the moderators in chat. And I'm going to go over to our fancy document here. Question for our guest. From Craig. Did you ever get the Touring the Stars Antietam I sent you a while back?
I did. I have it. It's in the queue. But you know how backed up we are, Craig. Can't be doing that live. But no, I do have it. It is in the queue, but it is something that we'll have to wait for its time in the sun. Not saying it won't happen, just wait for its time in the sun.
Cool. Kalos's Gaming Table says, will the new MUL also have the BSP cards?
I think they might. I have to check if that's going to be on the initial release or that's going to come after in phase 2. I know it's planned. I just have to take a look at where that fell in the timeline. I don't know off the top of my head. We're at the very end of adding a lot of these things, so I will check. I can get back to you and let Rem know, and then Rem can tell you on the next Tuesday Newsday.
Awesome. Takeo Kurita asks, why are the source books the main story drivers while the novels fill in some details but basically seem to assume that the overall story is already known?
So actually that's it's actually a great question. The novels actually drive the story. The source books actually fill in the back plot of it. So novels can't capture a huge wide view. They're a little bit zoomed in, while source books can be a lot zoomed out. Source books also aren't exactly what we call the truth all the time, right? The source books are written in universe, while novels are first-person events actually happening in the universe. So what you read in the novel is exactly what happened. Things in the source book mostly happen, and then it kind of goes from there. But source books don't drive the story. The novels actually do. The source books just provide this wide view look at the events writ large. and also give us all of the gaming material, backfill all the gaming material, so we can actually use this stuff on our tables. So that's what source books do.
Awesome. Phil Abramowitz asks how many new paint schemes for Star League are shown in the art in the new book.
Oh, Phil, you're gonna be so angry. One. It's Star League olive drab, like the second and the first before it. The Star League Defense Force has only one color. Star League associated units, which could be some of like the provisional clans, like Jade Falcon or the Smoke Jags, they have different paint schemes, obviously, with the addition of the Cameron Star. But Alaric does want some connective tissue to the first Star League, and therefore has made it important that the mechs reflect that. So they're olive drab. Sorry, bud.
Thanks for that. For me, question from Modhail: any news on non-US partners to improve distribution speed and store shipping? Funny you should ask. We had our directors meeting today, and I know that we've hit a negotiation roadblock with EU. So I don't know much detail. I'm not part of those conversations other than it just came up and seemed to slow down because we've been talking with these people for a couple of years, and with the new, it's GPSR, GSPR. I have all the letters, just maybe not the right order. There's some new issues that cropped up that we need to navigate, and we're not real happy with their answers about it. So, I mean, the conversations are still happening, but we'll see. It is a goal, and we do have back in was it this year or was it last year? All the time is a blur at this point, but we do have a sales manager now that we didn't used to have, that knows distribution and the industry very well, and so he's been leading a lot of those conversations. So we have someone looking at it, but I don't know much detail. Karamindy asks, who do I need to send requests to for restock on t-shirts within the plus sizes? Store at catalystgamelabs.com, because we keep a running list whenever we get requests for stuff to send to Talon, who does reorders. I know that we've been slow on the reorders because we're just sitting on a ton of inventory for Mercs waiting to get out so that we can start to order more product again and stuff. So it should be soon, but I don't have official word on when that's being ordered and shipped. So, but yeah, that's store at catalystgamelabs.com is the right place to send that. Spectre has a question. It's been a while since the last premium mech mini. Is there any updates to that line? I'm not sure. Let me ask the group chat. Are there any more premium mechs in design? So I'll ask. If I get an answer here today, I'll let you know. If not, feel free to ask again next week. Leviathans, Wargriz asks, is it still on track to finish production? Oh, yep, we answered that early in the show. Will the TTS Tabletop Simulator mod for Leviathans see more updates and general release, or is it finished being updated? I'm not real sure. I would have to follow up with Bryn on that. I'm happy to copy and paste that question over in the chat to him. Boop. And
a private question about the Snow Ravens. Somebody just asked me on my Discord, do the Snow Ravens get a lot of screen time in IlKhan Eyes Only? Yes, the Snow Ravens get a tremendous amount of time in IlKhan's Eyes Only. So do the Sea Foxes, Jade Falcons, all of the kids, with the exception of the Ghost Bears and the Hell's Horses. The Snow Ravens in particular play a pretty big role in the events of IlKhan's Eyes Only. I do want to switch that in and out. So there's a lot of warship action in this. So if you guys like aerospace, you're going to see a lot of aerospace action in this book.
Cool.
Sorry.
Cool. No worries. Will Jeffrey Alfaro asks, will Trial of Birthright have any print copies, or is it staying EPUB only? So we only do EPUB on our store for now. There's a couple reasons for that, but it will be print on demand at on Amazon, so you can get a physical copy. So you can go there to get that, and then we do print copies for convention release. So we have a few on hand that we bring in for cons. Let's see. I think that is all the questions. So if anyone has other questions, we still have like 10 minutes. You guys asked really fast questions, and I'll see if I gotten any answers to stuff that's been put in there.
Yeah, the answer is yes. Does IKEO have Mercs compatible Chaos campaign? Yes. And speaking of Mercs, there is actually a brand new mercenary unit in the book that I'm particularly proud of because Marco Mazzoni created like a very specific logo for it. It's sad though. I'm not going to tell you what happens to the Mercs. You're going to have to read that for yourself. But they have a really sweet logo that I got to design.
Ooh. Neat.
And today I asked to submit the paint scheme to Camo Specs. If you like the mercenary unit, maybe it'll have some legs. But it was fun to add it.
Awesome.
I did not cut my hair, Lurkin. My hair is still very long.
Awesome. Karamindy, I saw your question pop up about salvage boxes. So total, my understanding is that we had ordered for Mercenaries Fulfillment and retail after the fact, like 450,000 of them. So it's a lot more than we've ordered in the past, but we've also had the unknown shortage issues, so I don't know what that's going to mean when QML sends us the remaining stock and stuff like that, but we are watching it closely because we know that people want them. So if we need to place a reorder, we will be. What else do we have? Steve asks, what do we do if we have not received canon character survey, but we emailed and have not heard back? I checked my spam folder. So, clan invasion. So the fun part about custom characters is that, oh gosh, it's such a tangled mess. So basically, our pledge manager at the time was CrowdOx, which has since been purchased by BackerKit. So that system doesn't really exist anymore. So not only did we have the Kickstarter list, plus whatever people changed about their order in CrowdOx, but then it's transferred over, so all we have record of is in I'm not even sure there's record in BackerKit. I think we have the CrowdOx thing that we have to request specific reports from BackerKit now to get access to the CrowdOx stuff. And then we did the Google form that asked like 50 questions, which was a train wreck and stupid idea. Love you, Lauren. So after trying to untangle everything everywhere, and then customer support had a list that we need to get access to that had anyone that was like, you know what, just refund me for the custom character or whatever, and that whole list is somewhere. Plus there's 400 people that were already fulfilled, so they exist in canon. So it's like lists everywhere, and it's crazy. So we thought we had the final list, and it turns out that you and many others did not get that email. So basically we're re-strategizing on, can we get those lists that are missing or unavailable? Like I know we asked BackerKit for one of the CrowdOx lists that would have just given us everything, and when they tried to do the download, it timed out and wouldn't give them the download anymore. So
wow.
It's kind of rebuilding everything that we can and getting the piecemeal smaller lists that we can combine together. And it's a cluster. So we have steps in place to get the stuff that we're missing, or at least ask about them from everyone that could have a copy. And then in the meantime, what we're thinking about doing, because we've gotten so many requests, is should we just open the survey to everyone and invite everyone to do it? And then before we get the vetted list to like Ray and John and everyone that would be using it, go through some of the other lists, like the customer refund one, just to make sure, like, oh, nope, you've already gotten your refund, or whatever the case may be. Oh, and then in addition to that, there was not only the pledges for custom characters, there was the add-on for custom characters, and then also the prominence upgrade. And God, it's so many lists.
I do not want that project. Nope. Someone might hand it to me. I can help you with that though.
It's a lot. So
It's a lot.
Yeah, so I did talk to Ray and Aaron this week and about the idea of opening it up, but I want to check if I can get that customer support list first, so that we can at least knock off, because what we don't want is 30,000 people filling out that survey, and then we have to go through all that. So we're still coming up with what the best plan is, after thinking we had everyone and realizing we didn't. So it's a lot. We're committed to fixing it, but it's a lot. And so we're taking it one step at a time. At least we have the 1,300 that we sent out. We can get those organized, and so the process can at least move, or start moving again. But it's going to be, to get everyone covered, it's going to take a little bit. So
we'll get there.
We'll get there. What else do we have? Let's see if cool. And then
what is the best way to dive into the IlKhan era by novels and or source books in your opinion? Was that to me or to Rem?
It better be for you, because
I was interested to hear your answer. Actually, so this is how I prefer to do it. I prefer to read the source books first. So I would get all of the early IlKhan era source books, which is Empire Alone, Dominions Divided, Tamar Rising, and IlKhan's Eyes Only. I'd read those first, because that would give me that big, broad overview picture of like all the things that are kind of going on. And then I would start diving into the novels, because then you can get into the real nuance, get the real deal of like what's happening in those scenes. And I'd probably start with Hour of the Wolf, not because it's the greatest novel ever, because it's not the greatest novel ever, but I'd start with Hour of the Wolf because you get to see the end of Alric and Stone's relationship, if you want to call it that, but their conflict together or against one another, the fall of Terra, the IlKhan trials. All of these like big DA characters are kind of either coming to a close or in some ways starting to kick off. And it gives, I'd start with that novel, not because it's the greatest thing in the world, because of what it has in it. And then I would move into the other IlKhan era novels, eventually getting to Trial of Bloodright, and then when Voidbreaker comes out, and then keep on going from there, because it's going to give you that real great nuance and those really, really fantastic scenes with characters and events that are taking place in all the source books that you've just read and now have great context for. So yes, that's the order and how I would do it.
My answer is that I have read 50 pages of the first in the Warrior trilogy, in which case I got an idea. This was like right when I got hired with Catalyst, in which I had the idea where I was like, man, if we were to like podcast this or make a stream about this, we could like literally like conspiracy theory, like here's the plan, like let's learn BattleTech lore together kind of thing. And then life got crazy.
There's be like all those like Warhammer YouTube channels, and they're like 40-minute episodes of some guy like doing the Charlie Day thing with all the lines and the string and the it's great though. It's actually it's a lot of fun.
I was thinking about like, because I mean in the first 50 pages you learn what a presenter is, and you like you meet one of the Merc factions, and you learn that it takes 6 months to travel, or for news to travel, but then a couple years to actually physically travel. Like, so you're learning all of this stuff,
how the universe works,
right,
in the first 50 pages. Game universes like BattleTech, where we have almost 40 years of accumulated fiction, it can be kind of tough to find the place to start. And in a lot of ways, there's no real great way to do it. But I think any era and whatever you're introduced to, and however you're introduced to BattleTech is the way to go, because you'll go down your own rabbit hole if you like BattleTech. You'll find your way through the maze to learn all that stuff. And I think that journey in itself is kind of is awesome and rewarding. But yeah, Thurston did a good job with that for sure. And but again, if you're getting into the IlKhan era now, you can hop in these source books. There's an introductory paragraph. It helps you kind of get right into the action, and then you just start picking up the novels and go from there, and then start back reading them.
And the BattleTech universe book now is such a help for like,
oh yeah,
how do I even start this, and what am I even interested in, and
yeah,
for me, like there's always got to be a like emotional connection. So like my first grinder, I still love my where is she? My Daishi Widowmaker.
Nice.
So like naturally, I want to talk about Kerensky and Natasha and stuff like that. So so like being able to choose where you want to start is universe. I wish that was out a year earlier than it was.
Yeah, I mean, if I had my druthers, I would have made the universe book like a PDF thing, just because be a little bit more accessible. And if you have to update it with the next era, it's just slap that on, and then you're not accumulating. Wait, are we accumulating volumes of books? That's the BattleTech way. That's how we work. So, I mean, it's kind of funny to put out the universe book, and I know in 20 years, when we get into the next era, we'll print it out again, and those of us who have the original will have another awesome coffee book to stack on. But the universe book is an amazing thing to finally have, and yeah, it's a great introduction to the entire expansive BattleTech universe.
Awesome.
Now people are coming in with a lot of questions.
Yeah, they are, but we are out of time.
Ooh.
So hold those questions. Come back next week, and hopefully we can answer some more of those. But thank you so much, Josh, for joining.
Yeah.
Really great to have you here, and I can't wait to have you back.
Yeah, my pleasure. I hope this was somewhat informative and I wasn't terrible. And I look forward to coming back and talking all the mole, or MUL. Oh, there, I cover it, my people, and some of the fun stuff that we're going to have on that site, and what we can look forward to seeing on it in the future. So thanks for having me, Rem. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
I hope everyone's doing well out there. Happy New Year. It's still early enough for me to say that. And thanks.
Thank you all for joining. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Take care. Bye.